I have things that are more important than you. My career, my goals, my personal growth. I nodded slowly, processing her words. Go on. I need to try life with other men. I need to explore what else is out there before I commit to spending the rest of my life in this arrangement. The word arrangement hit me like a slap. 15 years of marriage, and that's what we were to her, an arrangement. I felt something cold and sharp settle in my chest, but I kept my expression neutral. Could you repeat that? I asked, reaching casually for my phone. Cleo sighed, as if I were being deliberately obtuse. I said I need to try life with other men. I'm not happy, Lennon. I haven't been happy for a long time. Marriage doesn't make you the center of my universe, and I think it's time we both accepted that. I hit record on my phone's voice memo app, keeping it hidden under my napkin. That's your choice, I said simply. She blinked, clearly expecting more of a reaction. That's it? That's all you have to say? What would you like me to say, Cleo? You've made your position clear. You want to explore other options. I understand. I thought you'd be more upset. I finished my bourbon and looked at her across the table. She was still beautiful at 35, with her auburn hair pulled back in that severe bun she favored for work, her sharp features highlighted by the overhead light. But sitting there, watching her explain why our marriage meant nothing to her, I realized I was looking at a stranger. I'm not upset, I said, which was technically true. Upset implied surprise, and I'd seen this coming for months. The late nights at the office, the secretive phone calls, the way she'd started treating our home like a hotel she was temporarily staying at. But I do want to clarify something. What? You said marriage doesn't make me the center of your life, that you have more important things than me, that you need to try life with other men. I paused, making sure every word was being recorded clearly. Is that an accurate summary of your position? Yes, she said, lifting her chin defiantly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Okay. I stopped the recording and slipped my phone back into my pocket. Just wanted to make sure I understood correctly. Cleo frowned. You're being weird about this, Lennon. Am I? You just told me you want to sleep with other men. How exactly should I be acting? I didn't say sleep with. I said try life with. Right. My mistake. I stood up and collected my plate. Well, like I said, that's your choice. But while you're making that choice, you might want to remember that you're still living in my house, under my name, following my rules. Her frown deepened. What's that supposed to mean? It means exactly what it sounds like, Cleo. This house is in my name. The mortgage is in my name. Most of our accounts are in my name. You want to explore other options? That's fine, but you'll do it on your own dime, not mine. I walked to the kitchen sink and rinsed my plate, listening to the silence behind me. When I turned around, Cleo was staring at me with something that might have been respect if it hadn't been mixed with so much calculation. You can't just cut me off financially, Lennon. We're married. You're right. We are married. For now. I dried my hands on the dish towel and hung it back on its hook. But marriage is just an arrangement, remember? And arrangements can be rearranged. That night, after Cleo had retreated to what used to be our bedroom but was now apparently just her temporary lodging, I sat in my home office with a bottle of bourbon and my laptop. The office was my sanctuary, the one room in the house that Cleo never entered. She claimed it smelled like sawdust and motor oil, which it did, because that's what my life smelled like. I was a construction project manager, not a tech executive like her. I worked with my hands, solved real problems, built things that lasted. Unlike marriages, apparently. I started with the bank accounts. Cleo might have thought she was clever, but she'd never paid attention to the financial details of our life together. She made good money at her tech startup, but I made better money. And more importantly, I'd been the one handling our finances since we got married. Most of our accounts were joint, but the primary account holder was me. It took me about 20 minutes to freeze her access to our credit cards and move our savings into an account with only my name on it. Next, I changed the entry code to our house. We had a smart lock system that I'd installed myself 2 years ago. Cleo had never bothered to learn how to program it. Then I got to the interesting part. Cleo thought she was being subtle with her affair, but she'd made 2 critical mistakes. First, she'd been using our shared computer to check her personal email. Second, she'd been careless about leaving her second phone around the house. Yes, she had a second phone, a cheap prepaid smartphone that she thought I didn't know about. I'd found it 3 weeks ago while doing laundry, tucked into the pocket of her work blazer. Instead of confronting her about it, I'd done something much more useful. I'd cloned it. One of the benefits of working in construction is that you meet all kinds of people with all kinds of skills. My friend Roy, who worked security for one of the big contractors in town, had shown me how to copy the contents of a phone in about 10 minutes. All you needed was the right software and a USB cable. Now, sitting in my office at midnight, I scrolled through 3 months of text messages between Cleo and her lover. His name was Sebastian Klein, and he worked at the same tech company she did. He was 37, divorced, and from what I could tell from his messages, about as deep as a puddle. The messages were revealing in more ways than one. Not only did they confirm the physical affair, but they also showed me something much more interesting. Cleo and Sebastian had been planning this conversation with me for weeks. They'd discussed how to handle Lennon and manage the transition. There were messages about Cleo keeping the house, keeping access to our accounts, and making sure I didn't cause problems during the divorce. But the most interesting messages were between Cleo and her best friend, Ivy Chen, who worked in HR at the same company. They'd been strategizing about how to paint me as controlling and potentially dangerous, how to build a case for Cleo being the victim of an abusive marriage. I saved everything: screenshots, exported files, printed copies. By the time I was finished, I had a comprehensive record of my wife's betrayal and her plan to destroy me in the process. At 3 a.m, I poured myself one last bourbon and walked to the window that looked out over our backyard. The fog was rolling in from the coast, thick and gray, swallowing the trees at the back of our property. It reminded me of the morning we'd first looked at this house, 15 years ago. Cleo had loved the privacy, the way the fog made everything feel mysterious and isolated. Now that isolation was going to work in my favor, I raised my glass to the window and whispered, "That's your choice, Cleo. But choices have consequences." The next morning, I woke up at 6, same as always. I made coffee, read the news, and got ready for work. When Cleo stumbled into the kitchen at 7:30, looking for her usual morning latte, she discovered that our expensive espresso machine wasn't working. "The machine is broken," she announced, as if I were personally responsible for its malfunction. "Huh," I said, not looking up from my newspaper. "Weird." She tried to use her credit card to buy coffee on the way to work, and discovered that it had been declined. She called me from her car, furious. "What did you do to our credit cards?" "I secured our assets," I said calmly. "Like I told you last night, you want to explore other options, you do it on your own dime. You can't just cut off my access to our money." "Actually, I can. Read the fine print on our account agreements. I'm the primary holder on everything." "This is financial abuse." "No, this is financial responsibility. You want to end our marriage? Fine, but you don't get to use my money to fund your affair while you're doing it." She hung up on me, which I'd expected. What I hadn't expected was the call I received an hour later from Ivy Chen. "Lennon, this is Ivy, Cleo's friend from work." "I know who you are, Ivy. Cleo told me what you did. Cutting off her credit cards, changing the locks on the house." "I didn't change the locks. I changed the entry code, and I didn't cut off her credit cards. I secured our joint accounts." "You're being vindictive." "I'm being practical. Cleo made her choice. Now she gets to live with the consequences. She's scared, Lennon. She thinks you might try to hurt her. That was interesting. According to the text messages I'd read, this call was part of their plan. Ivy was supposed to call me and try to get me to say something threatening that they could use against me later. I would never hurt Cleo, I said truthfully. But I'm not going to subsidize her affair either. If she's scared of anything, it should be the divorce lawyer she's going to need. You're making a mistake, Ivy said. Cleo has friends, people who care about her, people who won't let you bully her. Good for her. She's going to need all the friends she can get. I hung up and went back to work. I was overseeing the construction of a new office building downtown, and I had actual problems to solve. Real problems, with concrete solutions. Unlike marriage problems, construction problems could be fixed with the right tools and enough time. That evening, I stopped by the Grey Gull, a bar near the docks that served as the unofficial headquarters for Millbrook's blue-collar community. Roy was there, as I'd expected, nursing a beer and complaining about his ex-wife to anyone who would listen. "Lennon," he called out when he saw me, "come drink with a fellow victim of matrimonial warfare." Roy was 52, built like a linebacker gone to seed, and had been divorced 3 times. He was also one of the most observant people I'd ever met, which made him very good at his security job and very useful as a friend. "What's the word around town?" I asked, ordering a bourbon. "About what?" "About my wife." Roy's expression sharpened. "Ah, so you know." "I know she's having an affair. What I want to know is what other people know." "Well," Roy said, lowering his voice, "word is she's been seen around town with some fancy boy from her office, Sebastian something, drives a BMW, wears suits that cost more than my truck." "How long has this been going on?" "Couple months at least. They've been to dinner at that new French place 3 times, had drinks at the Marriott bar. Your neighbor, Mrs. Partridge, saw them making out in his car in your driveway 2 weeks ago." Mrs. Partridge was 78 and spent most of her time watching the neighborhood from her front window. She was also a notorious gossip, which meant that half the town probably knew about Cleo's affair before I did. "Interesting," I said. "You want my advice?" Roy asked. "Always. Document everything. Get evidence. Don't do anything stupid. And whatever you do, don't let her control the narrative." "What do you mean?" "I mean, women like your wife, they're smart. They know how to play the victim. They know how to make themselves look innocent and make us look like the bad guys. You need to get ahead of that." I nodded. Roy's advice was sound, but he didn't know that I was already 3 steps ahead of Cleo's plan. When I got home that night, Cleo was waiting for me in the living room. She'd changed out of her work clothes into jeans and a sweater, and she'd let her hair down. She looked younger, more like the woman I'd married. "We need to talk," she said. "We talked last night. I mean, really talk, about what happens next." I sat down across from her, maintaining distance. "Okay, what happens next? I don't want this to get ugly, Lennon. I don't want us to hurt each other." "Too late for that, don't you think?" She had the grace to look ashamed, at least. "I know I hurt you. I know this isn't what you wanted, but we can handle this like adults." "What did you have in mind?" "I move out. You keep the house. We split everything else 50-50. We file for no-fault divorce and move on with our lives." It was a reasonable offer, which made it suspicious. "And what about Sebastian?" She flinched at the name. "What about him? Are you planning to move in with him?" That's not really your business anymore." "Actually, it is my business. If you're planning to cohabitate with another man immediately after our divorce, it affects the settlement." "How?" "Adultery clauses, Cleo. You might want to read our prenup again." The color drained from her face. "We don't have a prenup. We have a postnup, remember? We signed it when we refinanced the house 5 years ago. You said you didn't need to read it because you trusted me to handle the financial details." This was true. Cleo had been so focused on her career that she'd signed the post-nuptial agreement without reading it. The document included a clause that voided any claim to marital assets in case of adultery. "You tricked me," she whispered. "I protected us." "There's a difference." She stood up abruptly. "This isn't over, Lennon. I have rights. I have options." "Yes, you do. You have the right to hire a lawyer and the option to explain to them why you decided to throw away 15 years of marriage for a coworker with a BMW." She stormed out of the room, and I heard her on the phone in the kitchen, speaking in urgent, hushed tones. I didn't need to listen to know she was calling Ivy and Sebastian, probably planning their next move, but I'd already planned mine. The next morning brought the first real test of Cleo's resolve. She came downstairs at her usual time, dressed for work in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than most people made in a week. She looked composed, professional, ready to take on the world. She also looked like she hadn't slept much. "Good morning," I said from behind my newspaper. She ignored me and walked to the front door. I heard her punch in the old entry code, then swear when the lock didn't disengage. She tried it again, then a third time. "Lennon," she called out, "the lock isn't working." "Try the new code," I said without looking up. "What new code?" "The one I programmed last night. Oh wait, I forgot to give it to you." I folded my newspaper and looked at her. My mistake. Her face went through several interesting color changes. "Give me the code." "Why?" "Because I live here." "Do you?" "Because last night you told me this wasn't really your business anymore. You said you had rights and options. I assumed that meant you'd exercised your option to find somewhere else to live." "Don't be ridiculous. I'm not moving out until we settle the divorce." "Ah, so you want to live here, in my house, while you're sleeping with Sebastian. That's an interesting arrangement." "It's not your house. It's our house." I pulled out my phone and showed her the screen. "Actually, according to the property deed, which I pulled up this morning, it's my house. Purchased by me, with my credit, in my name. You're listed as a resident, not an owner." This was technically true. When we'd bought the house, my credit score had been better than Cleo's, so we'd put everything in my name to get a better interest rate. She'd never bothered to have her name added to the deed. "That's not legal," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. "It's completely legal. You want to contest it? Call a lawyer." I stood up and grabbed my jacket. "I'm going to work. The new entry code is your birthday backwards, followed by the year we got married. But Cleo?" "What?" "This is temporary. You've got until Friday to find somewhere else to stay." I left her standing in the hallway and drove to work, where I spent the morning coordinating the installation of steel beams for the office building we were constructing. It was satisfying work, watching the skeleton of the building take shape, seeing months of planning turn into something solid and real. Unlike my marriage, this building was going to last. Around noon, my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. "Mr. Braskin, this is Janet Morrison from Morrison, Klein & Associates. I'm representing your wife in her divorce proceedings." "That was fast," I said. "She just decided to file this morning." "Mr. Braskin, I need to inform you that you cannot legally bar your wife from entering the marital home. What you've done constitutes constructive eviction, and it's grounds for an emergency injunction." "Ms. Morrison, I haven't barred my wife from anything. She has the entry code to the house. I gave it to her this morning." "She says you changed the locks." "I changed the entry code on an electronic lock. The code is her birthday backwards, followed by the year we were married. Any wife who wanted to enter her own home would know that information." There was a pause. "I see. And the credit cards? What about them?" "You've frozen her access to your joint accounts." "I've secured our assets pending the divorce proceedings. That's standard practice, isn't it? I assumed a lawyer would advise her client to do the same thing." Another pause, longer this time. "Mr. Braskin, are you represented by counsel?" "Not yet. Should I be?" That's your decision. But I should warn you that any attempts to hide assets or engage in financial misconduct will be viewed very seriously by the court." I'm not hiding anything, Ms. Morrison. I'm protecting everything. There's a difference. After I hung up, I called my own lawyer. Bill Henderson had handled the legal work when I'd started my construction business, and he'd been my go-to guy for contracts and liability issues ever since. He was in his 60s, sharp as a blade, and had been through 2 divorces of his own. "Lennon," he said when I explained the situation, "you've been busy. Is what I did legal? Changing the entry code? Completely legal, as long as she still has access, which she does. Securing the joint accounts? Also legal, as long as you're not hiding assets or transferring them out of state. I'm not hiding anything. Everything's still in local banks. Good. What about this post-nup you mentioned? I've got a copy in my office. I'll email it to you." "Do that. And Lennon? Be careful. Your wife hired Janet Morrison, and she's good. She's also expensive, which means your wife is serious about fighting this." "Let her fight. I've got evidence she doesn't know about." "What kind of evidence?" I told him about the phone cloning and the text messages. There was a long silence. "Jesus, Lennon, that's either brilliant or completely insane. Possibly both. Is it legal? Cloning your wife's phone without her knowledge? That's a gray area. Using the evidence in court? That's an even grayer area. But if she was using that phone to plan fraud or conspiracy against you, she was. Then it might be admissible. Send me everything you've got. I need to see exactly what we're dealing with." That evening, I stopped by the Grey Gull again. Roy was there, along with Mrs. Partridge, who occasionally came in for their fish and chips special. She was a tiny woman with steel-gray hair and eyes like a hawk, and she knew everything that happened in our neighborhood. "Evening, Mrs. Partridge," I said, sitting down next to her at the bar. "Hello, dear. I heard about your troubles." "What troubles?" She gave me a look that suggested I was being deliberately obtuse. "Your wife's been entertaining that young man in your driveway again. Yesterday afternoon while you were at work." "Is that so?" "Mm-hmm. They sat in his fancy car for about 20 minutes. Lots of animated conversation." She looked upset. "Upset how?" "Like someone who'd just learned that her husband wasn't as stupid as she thought he was." I had to smile at that. Mrs. Partridge might have been 78, but she was nobody's fool. "Mrs. Partridge, hypothetically speaking, if you happened to take pictures of people who were using my driveway for inappropriate purposes, would that be legal? Hypothetically speaking, if someone was taking pictures of people on a public street from her own property, that would be completely legal, especially if those people were engaging in behavior that might be relevant to ongoing legal proceedings." Roy choked on his beer. "Mrs. Partridge, you magnificent old bat, please tell me you've been documenting Cleo's affair." "I don't know what you're talking about," she said primly. "But I do know that I've been very concerned about the security of our neighborhood lately. Lots of strange cars, people coming and going at odd hours. A responsible citizen might feel obligated to keep records." She slid a manila envelope across the bar to me. "Hypothetically speaking." Inside the envelope were about 20 photographs, all time-stamped and dated, showing Cleo and Sebastian in various compromising positions in his BMW. They were parked in my driveway, on the street in front of my house, and in the parking lot of the Marriott Hotel downtown. "Mrs. Partridge," I said, "you're a treasure." "I'm a concerned neighbor. There's a difference." When I got home, Cleo was waiting for me again. This time, she wasn't alone. Sebastian was with her, sitting on my couch like he belonged there. "Lennon," Cleo said, "I'd like you to meet Sebastian." I looked at him for a long moment. He was exactly what I'd expected from his text messages. Tall, lean, expensively dressed, with the kind of carefully maintained appearance that suggested he spent more on grooming than most people spent on rent. He had weak eyes and a weaker handshake. "Sebastian," I said, "the BMW owner." He flinched slightly. "Cleo told me you two were having some difficulties." "Did she?" What else did she tell you? That you're being unreasonable about the divorce, that you're trying to punish her financially. Interesting perspective. What's your role in all this, Sebastian? I'm here as Cleo's friend. Friend. Right. I sat down across from them. So, friend Sebastian, what do you do for a living? I'm a senior developer at Cleo's company. And how long have you and Cleo been friends? He glanced at Cleo, who gave him a barely perceptible nod. About 6 months. 6 months, that's nice. Cleo, how long did you say you'd been unhappy in our marriage? About 6 months, she said quietly. What a coincidence. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to one of the photos Mrs. Partridge had taken. Sebastian, is this your BMW? The photo showed Sebastian and Cleo kissing in the front seat of his car. Sebastian's face went pale. Where did you get that? Concerned neighbor. Apparently there's been a lot of suspicious activity in our neighborhood lately. Strange cars, people coming and going at odd hours. You know how it is. Cleo stood up abruptly. You had us followed? I didn't have to. You were conducting your affair in my driveway. Mrs. Partridge has been documenting everything from her front window. That's illegal. Actually, it's not. Public street, public driveway, no expectation of privacy. Your lawyer can explain it to you. Sebastian stood up too, trying to look intimidating. It didn't work. Look, man, this doesn't have to get ugly. Ugly? Sebastian, you've been sleeping with my wife for 6 months, planning my divorce with her, and now you're sitting on my couch, telling me how things don't have to get ugly? I laughed, and it wasn't a pleasant sound. I think we passed ugly about 6 months ago. Cleo and I love each other, he said, which was interesting because according to his text messages, he was only using her to get access to her stock options. Love. That's beautiful. Really touching. I stood up and walked to the door. You know what, Sebastian? You're right. This doesn't have to get ugly. You and Cleo love each other. You should be together. In fact, I insist on it. What do you mean? Cleo asked. I mean you two lovebirds should find somewhere else to conduct your romance, because as of right now, you're both trespassing on my property. This is my home, Cleo protested. No, it's my house, and I'm asking you to leave. Both of you. I'm not going anywhere, she said. Okay. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. Hi. I'd like to report 2 people trespassing on my property. They're refusing to leave when asked. Cleo's eyes went wide. Hang up the phone, Lennon. Why? You said this isn't really your home anymore. You said you had more important things than our marriage. Well, congratulations. You've got Sebastian, and he's got a BMW. I'm sure you'll be very happy together. Sebastian grabbed Cleo's arm. Come on, let's go. This isn't worth it. No, she said, shaking him off. This is my house, too. Ma'am, I said into the phone, the female trespasser is becoming agitated. You might want to send someone over. That did it. Sebastian practically dragged Cleo out of the house, and I watched through the window as they had what appeared to be a very heated argument in his BMW before driving away. I canceled the 911 call and poured myself a bourbon. Then I sat down at my computer and sent an email to 3 people: Cleo's boss, Sebastian's boss, and the head of HR at their company. The email was simple and professional. I explained that I was going through a divorce and that I'd discovered my wife was having an affair with a coworker. I attached the photos Mrs. Partridge had taken, along with selected excerpts from the text messages that showed Cleo and Sebastian conducting personal business during work hours and using company resources for their affair. I didn't ask for anything. I didn't make any demands. I just provided information and let them draw their own conclusions. Then I went to bed in my own house, alone, and slept better than I had in months. Friday morning brought rain and the satisfying sound of my phone ringing at 6:30 a.m. I let it go to voicemail, then listened to Cleo's increasingly frantic messages while I drank my coffee. Lennon, what did you do? My boss wants to see me first thing this morning. Call me back right now. Sebastian's been suspended pending investigation. You vindictive bastard, call me! I deleted the messages and got ready for work. The rain was coming down hard, turning the construction site into a muddy mess, but that was fine with me. I had indoor work to do today, reviewing blueprints and coordinating with the electrical contractors. Around 10 a.m., my phone rang again. This time, it was Bill Henderson, my lawyer. Lennon, I got the files you sent me. This is either the most thorough documentation of adultery I've ever seen, or you're completely insane. Which do you think it is? Both. The good news is that your post-nup is airtight. If we can prove adultery, Cleo gets nothing. The bad news is that she's going to fight this with everything she's got. Let her fight. There's something else. I got a call from Janet Morrison this morning. She wants to schedule a settlement conference. Already? It's been 2 days. That's what I thought. She's moving fast, which means Cleo's desperate, or scared, possibly both. What kind of settlement? She didn't say. But Lennon, I want you to be prepared for the possibility that they're going to try to paint you as the bad guy here. Controlling husband, financial abuse, maybe even domestic violence allegations. I've never touched Cleo. I believe you, but they don't need proof. They just need allegations. Once that stuff gets out there, it takes on a life of its own. Then we need to get ahead of it. What do you have in mind? I told him about my plan for that evening. There was a long silence. Jesus, Lennon, that's either brilliant or it's going to backfire spectacularly. Sometimes you have to take risks. Sometimes you do. But be careful. Once you go public with this, there's no taking it back. That afternoon, I made a series of phone calls. First to Roy, then to Mrs. Partridge, then to several other people around town. I explained that I was having a small gathering at the Grey Gull that evening. Nothing fancy, just drinks and conversation. I mentioned that I had some news to share about my marriage. In a town like Millbrook, that was all the invitation people needed. By 6 p.m., the Grey Gull was more crowded than I'd ever seen it. Word had gotten around, as I'd known it would, and half the town had shown up to hear whatever drama I was planning to share. Roy had saved me a seat at the bar, and Mrs. Partridge was holding court at a corner table, probably filling people in on what she'd observed from her window. At 6:30, Cleo walked in with Sebastian and Ivy. They looked like they'd dressed for a business meeting, all sharp suits and serious expressions. Cleo had pulled her hair back into that severe bun again, and she was wearing more makeup than usual, probably trying to hide the fact that she'd been crying. The conversation in the bar died down as people noticed them. Cleo looked around nervously, clearly not expecting such a crowd. "Lennon," she said, walking over to where I was sitting. "We need to talk." "We are talking," I said. "In fact, I was just about to tell everyone here about our conversation earlier this week." "Don't," she said quietly. "Please don't do this." "Do what? Tell the truth?" Sebastian stepped forward, trying to look protective. "Look, man, whatever issues you and Cleo have, this isn't the way to handle them." "Really? What would you suggest, Sebastian? More secret meetings? More text messages about how to handle Lennon and manage the transition?" His face went white. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you do." I pulled out my phone and connected it to the bar's sound system. Roy had helped me set it up earlier. "Let me refresh your memory." I played the recording of Cleo's confession from Tuesday night, her voice crystal clear as she explained how marriage didn't make me the center of her life and how she needed to try life with other men. The bar went completely silent. When the recording ended, I looked around the room. That was my wife, 3 days ago, explaining why she's been having an affair with Sebastian here for the past 6 months. The silence stretched for about 10 seconds, then the whispers started. Cleo's face had gone from pale to red to pale again. "You recorded me without my consent," she said. "In my own home during a conversation about our marriage. Completely legal." I looked at Sebastian. "Would you like to hear the text messages where you two planned this whole thing? Or maybe the ones where you told Ivy that you were only using Cleo to get access to her stock options? Sebastian took a step back. That's not... I never said that. Really? I scrolled.
You cheated on me. You betrayed me. You destroyed our family.
Yes, I cheated. And you're the one to blame. You were never there for me. We're divorcing.
You get nothing. The house is mine. The money is mine. You'll live on the street. What?
Want to know who I cheated with? Your boss! He's a real man!
You're finished! I'll make sure you get nothing! You hear me? Nothing!
I don't need your money. I'm leaving you for him. He's twice the man you are. And you know what else?
Through my phone. Here we go. Text from Sebastian to Ivy last Tuesday. Don't worry about Cleo's feelings. Once I get access to her options, I'll find a way out. She's not exactly long-term material. The whispers turned into murmurs, then into open conversation. I could hear fragments. Can you believe it? Poor Lennon. I always thought there was something off about her. Cleo looked around desperately, realizing that the narrative was slipping away from her. That's taken out of context. What context makes it better? I asked. Ivy finally spoke up. Lennon, you're being cruel. Cleo made a mistake, but that doesn't give you the right to humiliate her publicly. Actually, Ivy, I think it does. See, Cleo didn't just make a mistake. She planned this. You helped her plan it. You coached her on how to paint me as controlling and dangerous. You helped her figure out how to get the house and the money while making me look like the bad guy. I played another recording, this one of Ivy and Cleo discussing their strategy for the divorce. Ivy's voice was clearly audible as she suggested that Cleo claim I had anger issues and that she was afraid for her safety. That's enough, Sebastian said, grabbing Cleo's arm. We're leaving. Good idea, I said. But Sebastian? Before you go, you might want to explain to everyone why you're driving a BMW that's registered to your ex-wife, who's still paying the insurance on it. That stopped him cold. How did you... I had you investigated. Turns out you're not quite the successful businessman you pretend to be. You're 3 months behind on rent, you've got credit card debt up to your eyeballs, and your ex-wife has been subsidizing your lifestyle since your divorce 2 years ago. The bar erupted in laughter and conversation. Sebastian's face went through several color changes before he turned and walked toward the door. Wait, Cleo called after him, but he didn't stop. She turned back to me, tears starting to form in her eyes. Why are you doing this? Because you asked me to, I said simply. You said marriage didn't make me the center of your life. You said you had more important things than me. You said you needed to try life with other men. Well, congratulations, Cleo. You got exactly what you asked for. I didn't ask for this. You asked for a divorce. You asked to end our marriage. You asked to explore other options. The only thing you didn't ask for was to face the consequences of those choices. She looked around the room, seeing the faces of people she'd known for years, people who were now looking at her with a mixture of pity and disgust. These people don't matter, she said, but her voice was shaking. Really? Because last week you cared a lot about what people thought. You and Ivy spent hours planning how to control the narrative, how to make sure everyone saw you as the victim and me as the villain. You cared enough about public opinion to plan an entire campaign around it. That's different. How? She couldn't answer that, because there was no good answer. She'd wanted to control how people saw our divorce, but only if she got to control the story. Mrs. Partridge stood up from her corner table and walked over to us. Cleo, dear, she said in her sweetest voice, I just wanted you to know that I'll be happy to testify in court about all those times I saw you and your young man in Lennon's driveway. I've got pictures, too, if anyone needs them. That was the final straw. Cleo turned and ran out of the bar, leaving Ivy standing alone in a room full of hostile faces. "This isn't over," Ivy said to me. "You're right," I replied. "It's not. But the next time you want to help someone destroy a marriage, you might want to make sure you're smarter than the husband you're trying to destroy." She left without another word, and the bar erupted in applause. Roy clapped me on the back. "That was beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful." "It was necessary," I said. "Cleo wanted to play games with my reputation. Now she gets to see what happens when someone plays those games better than she does." The rest of the evening was a blur of congratulations and war stories from other divorced men. By the time I got home, I was exhausted, but satisfied. Cleo's car wasn't in the driveway, which meant she'd found somewhere else to stay. I poured myself a bourbon and sat in my office, looking at the photos Mrs. Partridge had taken and the text messages I'd collected. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight I'd won a significant victory. Cleo had wanted to control the narrative around our divorce. Instead, she'd lost control of it completely. In a town like Millbrook, reputation was everything, and hers was now in ruins. More importantly, she'd learned that I wasn't the pushover she'd thought I was. I might work with my hands for a living, but I wasn't stupid, and I wasn't helpless. The next morning brought a call from Bill Henderson. "Lennon, what the hell did you do last night? Janet Morrison called me at 7 a.m. screaming about harassment and public humiliation." I told the truth at a public gathering. "How is that harassment?" "She's threatening to file for a restraining order. She says you're stalking Cleo." "I haven't been within 50 feet of Cleo since she left the bar last night. She also says you've been spreading private information about her affair. I've been sharing evidence of her adultery, which is relevant to our divorce proceedings. If she didn't want people to know about her affair, she shouldn't have had one." Bill sighed. "You're not wrong, but you need to be careful. Janet Morrison is good, and she's looking for any excuse to paint you as the aggressor. Let her try. I've got evidence of everything I've done, and all of it's been legal. What's your next move?" "I'm going to wait and see what Cleo does next. She's lost the moral high ground, she's lost public sympathy, and she's about to lose Sebastian too, if she hasn't already." "What makes you think she'll lose Sebastian?" "Because Sebastian never loved her. He was using her, and now that she's a liability instead of an asset, he'll disappear. Guys like Sebastian don't stick around when things get difficult." I was right. By Monday morning, word around town was that Sebastian had taken a sudden leave of absence from work and was nowhere to be found. His BMW was gone from his apartment complex, and according to Mrs. Partridge's network of neighborhood watchers, he hadn't been seen since Friday night. Cleo, meanwhile, was staying at Ivy's apartment and apparently not taking the abandonment well. Roy's sources at the police station said there had been several noise complaints over the weekend, and someone had seen Cleo throwing things at Sebastian's apartment door on Saturday night. On Tuesday, I got a call from Janet Morrison. "Mr. Braskin, my client would like to discuss a settlement." "What kind of settlement?" "She's prepared to accept a modest financial arrangement in exchange for a quick, quiet divorce." "How modest?" $50,000 and her personal belongings. I laughed. "Ms. Morrison, your client committed adultery, which voids any claim to marital assets under our post-nuptial agreement. She's not entitled to 50,000 cents, let alone $50,000. Mr. Braskin, I think you're underestimating the strength of my client's position." "Really? What position is that?" "Cleo has evidence that you've been engaging in harassment, stalking, and financial abuse. She's prepared to file criminal charges if necessary. She's welcome to try. I've documented everything I've done, and all of it's been legal. Has she documented any of her allegations?" There was a pause. "We'll be in touch." She hung up, and I went back to work with a smile on my face. Cleo was running out of options, and she knew it. The settlement offer was a Hail Mary, an attempt to salvage something from the wreckage of her plan. But I wasn't interested in settlements. I was interested in justice. And justice, in this case, meant making sure Cleo got exactly what she'd asked for, a life without me, and all the consequences that came with it. Wednesday brought the first real sign that Cleo was getting desperate. I was at the construction site, reviewing the electrical plans with the contractor, when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "We need to talk. Meet me at the Marriott bar tonight at 8. Come alone. C." I showed the message to Roy, who was helping me coordinate the security system installation. "That's not Cleo's number," he said. "No, it's not. She's probably using a burner phone now." "You going?" "Of course I'm going. This should be interesting." That evening, I arrived at the Marriott bar 15 minutes early and chose a table with a clear view of the entrance. The bar was upscale but not fancy, the kind of place where business travelers went to drink overpriced cocktails and pretend they were somewhere more interesting than Millbrook, Maine. Cleo arrived exactly on time, but she wasn't alone. Ivy was with her, along with a man I didn't recognize. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and had the look of someone who'd been hired to intimidate people. "Lennon," Cleo said, sitting down across from me. "Thank you for coming." "Who's your friend?" I asked, nodding toward the intimidating stranger. "This is Marcus. He's a private investigator." "Interesting. What's he investigating?" "You," Ivy said. "We know you've been following Cleo. We know you've been harassing her, and we know you illegally recorded her without consent." I looked at Marcus, who was trying to look menacing but mostly just looked bored. "Marcus, what exactly have you discovered in your investigation?" "I've documented your pattern of stalking and harassment," he said, in a voice that suggested he'd practiced this speech. "Following my client to public places, photographing her without consent, spreading private information about her personal life." "Fascinating. Can you show me this documentation?" He reached into his jacket and pulled out a manila folder. Inside were several photographs of me at the Grey Gull, at the grocery store, at the gas station. All public places, all perfectly legal. "This proves I exist," I said, flipping through the photos. "What exactly does it prove about stalking?" "You were following her," Ivy said. "I was going about my normal routine in a town where I've lived for 15 years. If Cleo happened to be in the same places, that's not stalking, that's coincidence." "What about the recording?" Cleo demanded. "What about it?" "I recorded a conversation in my own home about my own marriage. Completely legal in Maine as long as one party consents, which I did." Marcus leaned forward, trying to look intimidating. "Mr. Braskin, my client is prepared to file criminal charges against you for harassment and stalking." "Really? With what evidence?" "We have witnesses who saw you following her." "Where? When?" He consulted his notes. "Friday night at the Grey Gull. You followed her there and publicly humiliated her." I laughed. "Marcus, I was at the Grey Gull first. I invited people to join me there. Cleo chose to show up. If anyone was following anyone, she was following me." "You're twisting the facts," Ivy said. "I'm stating the facts. But here's what I find interesting. You hired a private investigator to follow me around and take pictures of me without my consent. Isn't that exactly what you're accusing me of doing to Cleo?" The three of them exchanged glances. Clearly, this hadn't gone the way they'd planned. "We want this to stop," Cleo said. "We want you to leave us alone." "Us? Are you and Ivy a couple now? What happened to Sebastian?" Cleo's face flushed. "Sebastian is none of your business." "You're right. He's not my business anymore, just like you're not my business anymore. Congratulations, Cleo. You got what you wanted." "I didn't want this," she said, gesturing around the bar. "I didn't want to be hiding in hotel bars and hiring investigators." "Then you should have thought about the consequences before you decided to end our marriage." "I made a mistake." "No, you made a choice. Multiple choices, actually. You chose to have an affair. You chose to plan my humiliation. You chose to try to take half of everything I'd worked for while painting me as an abusive husband. Those weren't mistakes, Cleo. They were deliberate decisions." Marcus cleared his throat. "Mr. Braskin, my client is prepared to offer you a deal." "What kind of deal?" You stop the harassment, and she won't press charges. What harassment? Be specific. The public humiliation, the recording, the financial abuse. Marcus, let me explain something to you. Recording my wife in my own home is legal. Freezing joint accounts during divorce proceedings is legal. Telling the truth about her affair at a public gathering is legal. If Cleo wants to press charges for legal activities, she's welcome to try. I stood up and dropped a 20 on the table. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk out of here, go home to my house, and continue living my life. If Cleo wants to keep hiring private investigators to follow me around, that's her choice. But she might want to consider whether that's the best use of her limited resources. Limited resources? Ivy asked. Well, she's unemployed now, isn't she? Hard to pay private investigators when you don't have a job. Cleo's face went pale. What are you talking about? You haven't heard? Your company decided that conducting personal affairs during work hours and using company resources for personal business violated their ethics policy. You and Sebastian were both terminated yesterday. This was true. I'd gotten the information from Roy, whose security company had contracts with several local businesses. Word traveled fast in Millbrook's business community. That's impossible, Ivy said. I would have heard about it. Maybe you should check your own employment status, Ivy. HR directors who help employees violate company policy tend not to last long. I left them sitting at the table and walked out of the bar. In the parking lot, I called Bill Henderson. Bill, I just had an interesting meeting with Cleo and a private investigator. They're threatening to file criminal charges against me. For what? Stalking and harassment. They've got photos of me going about my daily routine in public places. That's not stalking. That's living in a small town. That's what I told them, but I want to be prepared in case they actually file something. I'll make some calls, but Lennon, you need to be extra careful now. They're obviously desperate, and desperate people do stupid things. I'm always careful. I know you are, but maybe it's time to think about ending this. You've made your point. Cleo's lost her job, her lover, her reputation. Maybe it's time to just finalize the divorce and move on. Maybe, but I have a feeling Cleo's not done fighting yet. I was right. The next morning, I woke up to find my truck's tires slashed and "Stalker" spray painted across my garage door. I called the police and filed a report, then called Roy to help me review the security footage from my home cameras. The footage was clear. At 3 a.m., a figure in dark clothes had approached my property and vandalized my truck and garage. The person was wearing a hood and kept their face turned away from the cameras, but their build and movement suggested it was a woman. That's either Cleo or someone she hired, Roy said, studying the footage. Probably Cleo. She's running out of money to hire people. You going to press charges? Absolutely. But first, I want to see what else she's planning. The answer came that afternoon, when I received a call from my boss. Lennon, I got a strange call today. Some woman claiming you've been harassing her, saying you might be dangerous to work with. What woman? Wouldn't give her name, but she seemed to know a lot about your personal situation. What did you tell her? I told her that your personal life was none of my business, as long as it didn't affect your work. But Lennon, if this gets out of hand, it could become a problem. I understand. I'll handle it. After I hung up, I sat in my office and considered my options. Cleo was escalating, moving from legal threats to actual harassment, and now trying to sabotage my career. She was desperate, which made her dangerous, but it also made her sloppy. I pulled out my phone and called the number she'd texted me from the night before. Hello? Her voice was cautious. Cleo, it's Lennon. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Really? Because someone vandalized my truck last night, and someone called my boss today trying to get me fired. That someone wouldn't happen to be you, would it? I don't know what you're talking about. I have security footage of the vandalism, clear footage. If I press charges, it's going to be very easy to identify the person responsible. There was a long pause. What do you want? I want this to stop. You want a divorce? Fine. Let's get divorced. But this harassment needs to end. You're the one who's been harassing me. Cleo, I've been living my normal life while you've been hiring investigators, vandalizing my property, and calling my employer. Which one of us is actually doing the harassing here? Another pause. Meet me tomorrow night. The old pier at the marina. 8 o'clock. Why there? Because it's private. Because we can talk without an audience. Fine. But Cleo? Come alone. No investigators, no Ivy, no hired muscle. Just you and me. Agreed. She hung up, and I leaned back in my chair. The old pier was isolated, which could be dangerous, but it was also where Cleo and I had had our first date 20 years ago. Maybe she was feeling sentimental, or maybe she was planning something else entirely. Either way, I'd be ready for her. The next evening, I arrived at the marina early and parked where I could see the pier but remain hidden. The fog was rolling in from the ocean, thick and gray, muffling sounds and reducing visibility. It was the kind of Maine evening that made everything feel mysterious and slightly ominous. Cleo arrived exactly on time, walking out onto the pier alone. She was wearing jeans and a dark jacket, and she looked nervous. I waited 5 minutes to make sure she hadn't brought backup, then walked out to meet her. Hello, Cleo. Lennon. She turned to face me, and I could see that she'd been crying. This has to stop. I agree. So why don't you stop it? Me? You're the one who destroyed my life. I'm the one who exposed your lies. There's a difference. I lost my job because of you. You lost your job because you violated company policy by having an affair with a coworker and using company resources for personal business. I just made sure your boss knew about it. Sebastian left because of you. Sebastian left because he was using you, and I made that clear to everyone. He never loved you, Cleo. He was using you to get access to your stock options, and when that stopped being profitable, he disappeared. She started crying harder. I know that. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I didn't figure that out? Then why are you blaming me for it? Because you could have just let me go. You could have just given me the divorce and walked away, but you had to destroy everything. You had to make sure I lost everything. I looked at her standing there in the fog, crying and broken, and for a moment I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Cleo, you didn't just want a divorce. You wanted to humiliate me, take half my assets, and paint me as an abusive husband while you rode off into the sunset with your lover. You didn't just want to leave me. You wanted to destroy me on your way out. That's not true. It's completely true, and we both know it. I have the text messages to prove it. I was angry. I was confused. I made mistakes. You made choices, and now you're living with the consequences of those choices. So, what happens now? She asked. You've won. I've lost everything. Are you happy? I thought about that question for a long moment, standing there on the pier where we'd first kissed 20 years ago. Was I happy? Not exactly. But I was satisfied. Justice had been served. I'm not happy, Cleo. But I'm not destroyed either, which is what you were planning for me. You said marriage didn't make me the center of your life. You said you had more important things than me. Well, now you get to find out what those things are worth. I want to make a deal, she said suddenly. What kind of deal? I'll sign whatever divorce papers you want. I'll waive any claim to the house or the assets. I'll disappear from Millbrook and never contact you again. But I need something from you. What? I need you to call my boss and tell them the evidence against me was fabricated. I need you to give me a reference so I can get another job somewhere else. I stared at her. You want me to lie to help you get a job after you tried to destroy my life? I'm desperate, Lennon. I have nothing left. No job, no money, no friends. Sebastian cleaned out my bank account before he left. I'm staying in a motel and eating convenience store food. I need help. You should have thought about that before you decided to betray me. Please, she whispered. I'm begging you. I looked at her for a long moment. This woman I'd loved for 15 years, now reduced to begging on a foggy pier. Part of me wanted to help her. Part of me wanted to show mercy. But a larger part of me remembered the text messages, the planning, the deliberate cruelty of her betrayal. She hadn't just wanted to leave me. She'd wanted to destroy me. "No," I said simply. "Lennon, please. No, Cleo. You made your choice. Now live with it." I turned and walked away, leaving her standing alone on the pier. Behind me, I could hear her crying, but I didn't look back. Some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. And some people, once they show you who they really are, don't deserve a second chance. The next 2 weeks passed quietly, which should have made me suspicious. Cleo had disappeared from Millbrook entirely, and according to Mrs. Partridge's network of informants, she was staying at a motel in the next town over. Ivy had also vanished, apparently fired from her HR position as I'd predicted. Sebastian remained missing, probably halfway across the country by now. I was starting to think the war was over when Bill Henderson called me on a Friday afternoon. "Lennon, we have a problem. Janet Morrison filed an emergency motion this morning. She's claiming you've been threatening Cleo and that you're hiding assets." "What threats? What assets?" "She's got an affidavit from Cleo claiming you threatened her at the marina 2 weeks ago, and she's alleging that you've been moving money offshore to hide it from the divorce settlement." "That's complete nonsense. I haven't moved any money anywhere, and I didn't threaten her." "I believe you, but we need to respond to this quickly. There's a hearing scheduled for Monday morning." "What kind of hearing?" "Emergency injunction. If the judge believes Cleo's story, he could freeze all your assets and issue a restraining order." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. She's making one last play. That's what it looks like. But Lennon, this is serious. If she can convince the judge that you're dangerous and hiding assets, it could change everything. What do we need to do? We need evidence. We need to prove that her allegations are false and that you haven't hidden any money. I can provide bank statements going back 5 years, every account, every transaction. Good. What about the alleged threat at the marina? I recorded our conversation. There was a pause. You recorded it? I've been recording every interaction with Cleo since this started. I learned my lesson the first time. Jesus, Lennon, you really don't trust anyone, do you? Would you? Fair point. Send me the recording. And Lennon, be prepared for this to get ugly. If Cleo's making a last stand, she's going to throw everything she's got at you. That evening, I sat in my office reviewing the recording from the marina and preparing for Monday's hearing. The recording was clear. Cleo had asked me to lie for her. I'd refused, and I'd walked away. There had been no threats, no intimidation, nothing that could be construed as dangerous behavior, but I knew that wouldn't stop her from trying. My phone rang at 11 p.m. Unknown number. "Hello? Lennon, it's me." Cleo's voice was slurred, like she'd been drinking. "What do you want, Cleo?" "I want to make another deal." "We're past the point of deals." "No, listen to me. I'll drop the emergency motion. I'll sign the divorce papers. I'll disappear forever. But I need money." "How much money?" $100,000. I laughed. "You're drunk." "I'm desperate. Sebastian took everything. I'm living in a motel room, eating ramen noodles. I need enough money to start over somewhere else." "Then get a job." "I can't get a job. You destroyed my reputation. No one in the tech industry will hire me." "That's not my problem." "It is your problem. Because if you don't help me, I'm going to make your life hell. I'll file police reports every week. I'll call your boss every day. I'll make sure everyone in Millbrook knows what kind of man you really are." "What kind of man am I, Cleo?" "The kind who destroys his wife's life because his ego can't handle being rejected." Interesting perspective. Is that what you're going to tell the judge on Monday? There was a pause. How did you know about Monday? Because I'm not as stupid as you think I am, just like I wasn't stupid enough to fall for your plan to destroy me during the divorce. I never wanted to destroy you. Cleo, I have text messages where you and Ivy planned exactly how to destroy me. You wanted to paint me as abusive and controlling so you could take half my assets while running off with Sebastian. The only reason it didn't work is because I was smarter than you gave me credit for. Those messages were taken out of context. What context makes them better? She couldn't answer that because there was no good answer. Lennon, please, I'm begging you. I need help. You should have thought about that before you betrayed me. I loved you. No, you didn't. You loved what I could provide for you, the house, the financial security, the comfortable life. But you never loved me. If you had, you wouldn't have been able to plan my destruction so carefully. That's not true. It's completely true. And you know what? I'm glad you showed me who you really were. Because now I know that the woman I thought I'd married never actually existed. I hung up and turned off my phone. Whatever Cleo was planning for Monday, I'd be ready for it. The hearing was held in a small courtroom in downtown Millbrook. Judge Patricia Walsh presided, a stern woman in her 60s who had a reputation for not tolerating nonsense. Cleo sat with Janet Morrison at the plaintiff's table, looking composed and professional in a navy suit. I sat with Bill Henderson, wearing my best suit and trying to look like a reasonable man who was being falsely accused. Janet Morrison stood up first. Your Honor, my client is here today because she fears for her safety and her financial future. Mr. Braskin has engaged in a pattern of harassment, intimidation, and financial abuse that has escalated to the point where Mrs. Braskin fears for her life. What evidence do you have of these allegations? Judge Walsh asked. Mrs. Braskin will testify about threats made against her person. We also have evidence that Mr. Braskin has been moving assets to hide them from the divorce settlement. Mr. Henderson? Bill stood up. Your Honor, these allegations are completely false. Mr. Braskin has not threatened anyone, and he has not hidden any assets. We have complete financial records going back 5 years, and we have recordings that prove Mrs. Braskin's allegations are fabricated. Judge Walsh raised an eyebrow. Recordings? Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Braskin has been documenting his interactions with his wife since she announced her intention to divorce him. These recordings clearly show that he has never threatened her and that she has, in fact, been the one engaging in harassment. I'd like to hear these recordings, Judge Walsh said. Janet Morrison objected. Your Honor, these recordings were made without my client's consent and should not be admissible. In Maine, Mr. Henderson, what are the laws regarding recording conversations? One-party consent, Your Honor. As long as one participant in the conversation consents to the recording, it's legal. And Mr. Braskin was a participant in these conversations? Yes, Your Honor. Then I'll allow it. Let's hear what you've got. Bill played the recording from the marina, where Cleo had asked me to lie for her and I'd refused. Then he played the recording from Tuesday night, where she'd called me drunk and demanding money. Judge Walsh listened to both recordings without expression. When they were finished, she looked at Cleo. Mrs. Braskin, in these recordings, you're asking your husband to lie to help you get a job, and you're demanding money from him. Where exactly are the threats you've alleged? Cleo looked at Janet Morrison, who whispered something in her ear. Your Honor, those recordings don't tell the whole story. My husband has been systematically destroying my life since I asked for a divorce. How so? He's turned the entire town against me. He's gotten me fired from my job. He's driven away my friends. He's made it impossible for me to live in Millbrook. Mrs. Braskin, did you have an extramarital affair? Cleo's face flushed. That's not relevant to... Answer the question, please. Yes, but... And did you and your lover plan how to handle your divorce from Mr. Braskin? I don't understand the question. Judge Walsh looked at Bill. Mr. Henderson, do you have evidence of this planning? We do, Your Honor. Bill handed her a folder containing printouts of the text messages between Cleo, Sebastian, and Ivy. Judge Walsh spent several minutes reading through the messages, her expression growing increasingly stern. Finally, she looked up at Cleo. Mrs. Braskin, according to these text messages, You and your accomplices plan to accuse your husband of being controlling and potentially dangerous, despite having no evidence to support those claims. Is that correct? Those messages were taken out of context. What context makes it acceptable to fabricate allegations of abuse? Cleo couldn't answer that. Judge Walsh turned to Janet Morrison. Counselor, do you have any actual evidence that Mr. Braskin has threatened your client or hidden assets? We have Mrs. Braskin's testimony, which is contradicted by recordings of her actual conversations with her husband. Do you have anything else? We have evidence that he's been following her, photographing her. You mean the photographs taken by a neighbor from her own property of Mrs. Braskin, conducting her affair in Mr. Braskin's driveway? Those photographs? Janet Morrison sat down without answering. Judge Walsh looked at both sides. This is one of the most clear-cut cases I've seen in 20 years on the bench. Mrs. Braskin, you committed adultery, planned to falsely accuse your husband of abuse, and are now attempting to use the legal system to harass him when your plan didn't work. Your Honor, Janet Morrison started to object. I'm not finished, Judge Walsh said sharply. Mrs. Braskin, your emergency motion is denied. Furthermore, I'm ordering you to pay Mr. Braskin's legal fees for this frivolous hearing, and if you file any more baseless motions in this court, I'll hold you in contempt. She turned to me. Mr. Braskin, do you have divorce papers prepared? Yes, Your Honor. Then let's finish this right now. Mrs. Braskin, you will sign these papers today, in this courtroom. You will waive any claim to marital assets, as specified in your post-nuptial agreement, and you will agree to a restraining order that prohibits you from contacting Mr. Braskin or coming within 500 feet of his property. Your Honor, Janet Morrison said, my client needs time to review. Your client has had plenty of time to review her options. She chose to commit adultery and then lie about it in my courtroom. She can sign the papers now, or she can face perjury charges. Her choice. Cleo looked around the courtroom desperately, but there was nowhere to run. With shaking hands, she signed the divorce papers. This divorce is final as of today, Judge Walsh announced. Court